On the right. On the right.
How parents can build mindset in themselves that they have to read stories with their kids, and most importantly, parents who were not exposed to storybooks in their childhood or even later in the adult life. So how these parents can actually build that mindset.
See, what I think is, Piyush, most children have a favorite story. They like to go back to that story. Okay. So a parent doesn't have to know a lot of stories, doesn't have to have a lot of books. If they have a few books which the child chooses for herself or himself when they go out shopping, and they choose a book, and it's something that the child wants to read. Many times I've seen that, parents say, ये वाला book नहीं चाहिए आपको, ये वाला book choose कर दीजिए. And they walk with it to the counter. But supposing we can flip it around, that's the first step, I think, to get a child excited about reading and about learning, because these are two things that are linked up. So the first step is allow the child. You're going into a library. I know India doesn't have too many libraries, but if you're going into a library, if you're going into a bookstore, if you're going to a friend's house where they have many books and you're allowed to borrow a book, whatever it may be, allow the child to choose the book. That is step number one. Step number two, if you have books at home, if you have two or three books, allow the child to choose the book. Allow the child to choose the story. Allow the child to develop the story. So, you can say, beta, today I'm very, very tired. Remember that story we said yesterday? Do you think you can come up with a different ending for it? Supposing, that was a boy over there. Can we make it into a girl? Can you make it into a girl and tell me the same story? You break stereotypes that way. So I think that, even if I have 10 minutes, I can build and move it towards creativity, building creativity and curiosity in the child. We can build it towards breaking the stereotype, because that is what gives meaning, which is the third thing that I want to say. We read for meaning. Children read for meaning. Many times I find a problem with, phonics for this very simple reason. Nerve for null. Now, the child is not interested in nerve for null. But supposing there's a story, a magical story about, this person who lives under the water, and then the water is dirty, and immediately the child is getting very excited about it. So when you have a meaning, you have characters, and you're building on those characters. So the parents should have read the story before, should have their own understanding of the story, should be able to guide the child with just questions. They should challenge the child. इसका मतलब क्या है? Oh, I can't read this word. Can you read this word? So when you are challenging the child, then what happens is that, the child comes into her own, and she is saying, it is like this, aisa pado. So, I let go of my ego, and I say that, it's not like all adults know everything. The child also knows. So can I let go of my ego? Can I let go of my impatience? Can I let go of the fact that my mind is harried and I am the breadwinner for the family? And I have to think about the future of the child. For those 10 minutes, let's not think about that future of the child. Let's think about the child. Let's think about being present for her. And let's say that, her eyes sparkling, her eyes suddenly lighting up. That is what I want. So, you have your short term thing, and parents are looking for that. Then that will be a major thing that parents can do to bring the child into reading. So, as I said, connecting the dots, saying that, you remember Dadika, when we went there to the village, remember what you saw over there? And the child will have a story, which we have never heard before. Okay. So I'm thinking that, if parents can do something like that, if they can come around and they can sort of put the child in front, valorize the child and her knowledge, rather than saying, एक कहानी, बताना है, so I will just do that and then I'll get off from here. No, that 10 minutes belongs to a period of enjoyment of a story with the child. If we can do that, even a 5 minute, 10 minute thing, children begin to understand. आज मेरे पास टाइम नहीं है, so okay, tomorrow will you tell the story? Yes, tomorrow I will tell you the story, but today I'm not able to. But tomorrow, please remember, you have to tell that story to your child. You can't just keep on saying kal kal kal. It will not happen. Okay.
Correct. But one important question that comes to my mind here is like, which language parents should choose or use while reading stories with a kid or narrating
Yeah.
stories to a kid. Because, as you suggested, and this totally makes sense to me that kids should lead a way to select their storybooks. But they might be selecting a storybook because of the graphics, because of the touch, and the text of the storybook could be in a very different language, which is not even their own
Well,
language.
there is, as far as I'm concerned, there are no two answers to it. Always in your mother tongue. I think you need to valorize knowledge over language. Stories are knowledge. They are, they are khazanas of knowledge. And when you're doing that, it doesn't matter. English doesn't matter. English can come in the classroom, English can come when I'm talking in another thing. But when I'm telling a story, it's an experience that must go deep into the child. The child must understand and the child must appreciate, the child must enter into the under the skin of the story. The child must become that story, become that character, solve the problems that that character is solving. If I can do that, then the child is moving on from this level of understanding as a 3 year old or 2 year old or 1 year old to the next level of understanding, because the mind is growing furiously for a child till the age of 8. This is what brain studies show us. If the brain is really flowing so much and growing so much, and all the neurons are connecting, and the brain is a buzz of activities, at that point of time I need to be thinking about the child and saying, कितनी चीज मैं दे सकती हूँ, कितना कनेक्शंस मैं कर सकती हूँ बच्चों के लिए, ये वाला चीज मुझे करना है, वो 10 मिनट में मैं कर सकती हूँ। आई डोंट नीड 10 से ज़्यादा मिनट्स, मुझे नहीं चाहिए 10-10 मिनट्स। मैं एक दुकान के लिए मैं जा रही हूँ, मैं बाहर जा रही हूँ लंच डिनर खाने के लिए, और आई एम गोइंग, मेरा पिताजी का घर में जा रही हूँ, माता जी से बात कर रही हूँ, चांस फॉर अ स्टोरी, chance to narrate the story. So I'm thinking that the story is a living thing which can only happen in the language which you speak to your child every day. It cannot happen. It cannot happen in English. No way. We should not burden them. So I would say English becomes a burden if they are not habituated to reading in English. So English becomes a stress. No stress for the child. The child needs to be bindas. Child needs to be just happy, 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 and doing things and learning things without even knowing that she's learning.